Right then, I'm back on the bank. I'm back in the Cotswolds on the Syndicate, on the big pit, and I've got a nice big wind coming across into here at the moment. So I've come up, I'm literally doing an overnighter. It's Friday. I've got to get back for a bit of a family day tomorrow, and I'm also going into work on the evening. So it's going to be a very quick session, but I'm hoping there is enough time to get one on the bank. So I'm actually in a new swim. This is actually newly cut out this year, and opposite over here is the crack den, where I've obviously done a couple of sessions in. So I'm basically just fishing on the other bank. This is the more natural bank. It's a bit more overgrown. Very, very nice bank this. You haven't got the road directly behind you as well, so it's a little bit quieter. But yeah, it's a lovely area and a nice bit of bank. So anyway, I haven't really seen anything show. The Cerney Bank guys are in the car park having a social. They actually invite me along for a few beers, but obviously I said I wanted to try and catch a fish, so I left them to it. But they're in the car park. They've been putting a bit of bait in there apparently this week. There's been a few fish showing down that way. I've basically just come out of their way. There's another guy a bit further down as well, kind of opposite side to where they are. So I've kind of come further up the lake, sort of out everyone's way pretty much. I fancied fishing this swim just because it's a different swim. I've obviously caught on the swim opposite in the crack den. So I just thought, you know what, I'll come up here, fish somewhere a bit different, and have a little bit of a go. I'm trying to fish as many swims as possible, get to know the water, so hopefully when I come up and I see fish show, I know spots in different areas, so I can try and actually get on some fish and be able to present without causing too much disturbance. So anyway, the wind might be causing a bit of an issue on the mic, so apologies for that, but I'm going to try and get some rods out now. So we'll crack on, get some rods out. I think we're going to have some rain shortly, so I'm going to get home up, have a little head around, see what I can find, and get fishing, and I will catch up with you once I've got some rods in the pond. I think I might have found a weed bed. Jesus Christ, that is ridiculous. That's the way. Easier way of bringing in massive beds of weed. Instead of using a Tesco for the rod, just pump it in off the reel. Look at the size of that. Too far to the left. No, too far right. That's where I wanted it to go originally. It's deep, 15 foot, but then bang, it's the weed. I can imagine a fish. You think that's the lake like that. I can imagine a fish patrolling along the back of that weed there, along that edge. Nice. Right, what I'm going to do is wrap that up. Here we go. Bonk. Boom. Rod out the money. Right, it's just starting to rain. I have to say this is one of the carpiest swims I've fished in a long time. I'm using the little 10 footers today just because a lot of the fishing on here just seems to be quite close range, and I can chuck these at 100 yards. Rod number 2 going out then, so same thing, difference on here. I've actually got a cured 15mm bottom bait and then a piece of orange fake corn, obviously another paste wrap, same setup, 4-ounce lead, leg clip, very short piece of tubing, but it's enough basically to stop it wrapping. Obviously that's so anti-tangle, it's unbelievable. Casting from the bank because that's where I was leading from, and this one's going to go slightly to the left of where that one went out. Oh, what a drop. It's deep water, but it looks so good out there, that feature. Right, then we're going to weigh them out. God, that looks good. Exactly the same, although on this one I've got a white sinking corn topper, but I'm going to put all 3 out on that area and then just put some bait over the top of it, because to be honest, the time is getting on and it's going to take me a while to find any other spots. So for the time being, I'll just fish all 3 out there and we'll see if that produces anything. Boom. Well, I've made up a bit of bait. I wasn't going to bother spodding anything. I was just going to use the catapult, but I decided, you know what, let's just give them a load of grub. I don't know if it'll make any difference, but all I've been using lately is just a light spread of boilie, or maybe putting a kilo of boilie out with a catapult. But I thought if I just dump that lot over 3 rods, I'm only doing it overnighter, but it looks like, from what I've been told, the fish do respond to bait. So although there's a lot of crays in here, obviously that's mostly boilie, tiny little bit of pellet and a bit of paste just for attraction. Which just smash that out there, and we'll see. If I end up getting loads of problems with crays, well, I know not to do it next time, but I'm fishing in silt, so hopefully they won't get on it too much. But let's get out in the pond and see what happens. Right, so I've just dropped a couple of boilies in the edge, literally right in the edge of the water. They're just in it, like the far edge of the water as you can be. They've sort of rolled in a little bit further, but they've been in there for about 30 seconds. I've set the camera up to start filming, and I've just stood back from the water, and watch how quickly the crayfish react to this. So this place, I didn't realise, used to be a crayfish farm. It's absolutely full of crayfish, and I mean full of crayfish. It is insane how many crays are in here. And it's just the speed in which they sniff out bait. It's just insane. That's probably about a minute, I reckon, that's been in there now. And it's not even dark yet. You know, it's not even dark. And I can literally see them coming up now. I don't know if they're coming out on camera yet, but I can see some ripples as something's moving through. They're probably just seeing if the coast is clear, I expect. And they'll probably slowly emerge and just take those baits and just float off. There you go, there's one. On it, he's on it. There you go, look at that. He's had that one. Yeah, he's taken that one, so bang. I reckon that's like a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes at most. Those baits have been in that edge of that water and they've sniffed them out. I bet they were sort of down the bottom of the shelf, past the rod somewhere, and they've just smelt that straight away and come up to investigate. I mean, it's still light at the moment, the light is going, but it's nuts how quickly they sniff stuff out and react to it. Absolutely nuts. Someone's got to come and have that other one now. So there's still one left there, and Lefty's not realised there were 2. But I would have thought they'd still smell that scent and they'd come up and have a look. Oh yeah, there's one moving now to the left. Another one's going to come up, I reckon, and have that other one. I literally doing commentary on crayfish. I mean, didn't see me doing this. Look at him, he's got his head stuck out of the water. He's obviously stuck in some weed. Don't know if he's on camera or not. There's one, I think he might just be on camera. He's got his head stuck in a load of weed. Desperate to get that bug hook bait. Or that bug boilie, I should say. There he is. That's only a little one, that. I think that's why he's struggling. He can't get through that weed. Some of them are huge. Here he goes. Here he goes. He's got it. You can see it. Boom. And off he slides. Absolutely ridiculous. Right, we just had a bit of a storm come through, and I've had loads of extra weed come drifted in. So just in case I do get a fish, I'm just going to try and clear out some of this weed. Just so it doesn't give me any issues. see it's all out there. Luckily I've got a bit of a, it's a bit soft, got a bit of a channel. I'll try and pull as much of this weed back as I can. Right then, well, the rods have been out for a few hours now, and it is looking very good out there. We've just had a big rain front come through. The wind actually changed direction, but luckily the brolly I managed to set up. I pulled the sides out really far. This Avenger brolly from ProLogic, it's got really big sort of sides on it, and you can actually pull them out really far, and it basically pulls the front of the brolly right down. But because the centre of the brolly has got like a high peak in the middle, it means you've still got loads of headroom, but the front of the brolly ducks down, so it stops the rain catching underneath. And then if you put your bed and everything at the back, it keeps everything nice and dry. So yeah, absolutely wicked, to be fair. But anyway, in terms of what I'm doing, so I found a spot with a deeper, did a little bit of leading around as well. Basically I got like a wall of weed, and then like a clear spot the other side of it, and I basically just dropped the other side and then just put a little spread of bait along there. I've put out a bucket of bait, 7.5 litre bucket, and it's just been boily. So 18 millers and 15 mil, well, 15 by 12 dumbbells, mix of S7 and bug, and I've just got 3 hook baits out there on the bottom. I'm fishing 2 hardened 18 millers, and then I've got 1 cured 15 miller, all tipped with slow sinking maize. I've only done that because I wanted a bit of flash of colour. A lot of the bites seem to be in the morning on here. A lot of people are saying, and obviously from experience, I've had a bite in the morning. So as that light's coming up, I'm thinking, well, it might catch their attention a bit quicker than just using a match to hatch. So we'll see what happens anyway. But I'm feeling pretty confident. The weather's looking really good for it. It feels like there's a good chance of a bite. So we will see. So hopefully I'll be updating you at some point in the night with a big fat carp. But if I'm not, I will see you in the morning, probably drinking a coffee. Right, morning then. So as I said, if nothing happened in the night, I'd be updating you in the morning with a coffee. And yes, it was a quiet night, unfortunately. I stayed up quite late, sort of listening to the water, well, listening for any signs of fish showing, didn't hear anything. I was up to sort of the very early hours, if I'm honest. Don't know what it is, but there's something about staying up late. I love sort of being up at night when everyone's sort of asleep, you know, it goes quiet. That road in the background on here as well quietens right down, and it almost feels like a different lake. You can see all the sort of, hear all the nighttime wildlife going on. And it's sometimes quite an advantage to sort of hear a fish show when a lot of people are probably tucked up in their bag. So yeah, I always try and stay up a decent time, sometimes probably too late because, you know, I miss out on sleep, but you've got to be in it to win it, especially on short overnighters when you've got very limited time. That's kind of the most of your hours are going to be in darkness, so that's the only time really that you can sort of pay attention to what's going on and maybe pick up on something. But anyway, it was a quiet one. One thing I would say is I've got to be back. Well, I said I'd be back by midday, and here's a little tip for you. If you say to your other half that you're going to be back by midday, try and get back before then. And reason for that is if you get back early, it always puts you in a good light, and it always makes you look a little bit better than it did if you just rocked up at the time you said, and just adds a few sort of points into the brownie bank for future sessions. So a little bit of a tip there. But anyway, I've got a bit of breakfast on the go. I had a lasagna for tea last night. I'm having spaghetti meatballs today because they had a 2-for-1 deal, so I thought why not, might as well. But I'm going to finish off my coffee and watch the water a bit, have a bit of food, and hopefully when the rods goes rattling off. Right then, so I've had a bit of breakfast, had a few coffees, I feel a bit more alive now, and I've pretty much just been at the front of the swim, watching the water as much as possible. I haven't got a huge amount of water in front of me because of the 2 islands. The space in front of me is a bit limited, but I'm trying to sort of watch as much as I can just in case something does give itself away. It hasn't, but it is all about putting the time and effort in to try and see something. And what I would say on these kind of venues, big waters, low stock, and generally just in general on anywhere you're fishing, the more time you can put in, the more hours you can watch, the more likely you are to see something, and the more chance you've got of putting something together. Now, I said before, it is all about finding the bits of the puzzle. Every time you go, if you can find a piece of a puzzle that helps you build up that big picture to finally catch a fish, then that is still a good session. You know, don't look at it like blanking. At the end of the day, you're gonna blank on venues like this. You are going to blank. Even on runs waters, you can blank if you're in the wrong place. So if you've got a low stock in, you could be at the wrong end and blank. It's just how it is. The fish just might not be on it when you're here. But what you want to take from the session is absorb as much information as possible and try and learn from it. And a classic example of that is my second session on here. I spoke to a couple of guys that had been fishing. They had a bit of knowledge of it. They'd been fishing for it a couple of years. And they said to me that the cracked-end swim produces bites in the morning. And the next time I was up here, I had a few hours in the morning, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to act on that bit of information. I dropped into the crack den, fished for a bite, and I caught one. And that was the first fish I caught out of here. So that's all you can do really, is just act on what you are told, what you hear, what you see. Just try and find those pieces of the puzzle to put together that big picture at the end. So that is the plan of attack on this venue, just trying to constantly learn, constantly find out information about the place. And hopefully I'll be putting it all together to maybe catch a few fish eventually. But anyway, I've got a few hours to go, so we've still got time to have one. But I'm going to go put the kettle on and have another coffee. Right, so I thought I'd just take a few minutes, sat at the back of the swim where I can watch the water, sort of slightly different angle, just to go over a couple of things that I think might be quite useful to you guys if you're going to fish sort of big natural venues, or even if you're going to fish this venue in the future. It's just things to think about. So the first one is, it's a big bit of water, you know, it's 30 acres, which isn't huge, but it is it's a big 30 acres. And by that I mean it's got loads of nooks and crannies, loads of bays, you know, it's all over the place. It's not just like a bowl, which is easy to walk around. It is a difficult pit to walk around. And the bottom end of the lake is really overgrown. In some places you have to really push the barrow to get it through. The ground's really uneven. And so all I would say is, if you're used to fishing day ticket anglers or fishing comfortable lakes where you've got a path around them, you really need to think about what kit you're bringing. So in terms of being as light as possible, bringing as little kit as you can. Also, how you load your barrow. You really need to load your barrow right, because if you don't and it's imbalanced and you go down a dodgy path, it is going flying into the hedge. And the last thing you want is to damage any kit. So you need to think about those sort of things. So you need to try and load your barrow the same every time, keep everything nice and balanced, bring as little as possible. Ideally, just leave spare stuff in your motor. If you've got a van, you know, you can hide a bit in your motor, and if you need to come back, you can come back and get it. So just travel as light as you can, fish for a bite at a time. Don't carry too many leads, don't carry too much bait. Try and limit yourself a little bit and just cut back as much as you can. So that's your first pointer, which is quite a well-known one when you're fishing these kind of venues. Pointer number 2 is waders. You will 100% need waders on a venue like this. Now, the swim I'm in today, I had to wade out to be able to get the bank sticks in. I had to wade out to be able to sort of bait up and cast properly. Although I did a lot of it from the bank, you still need to be able to get into the water. It's going to be a massive advantage in most areas of this lake. And additional to that is long bank sticks. Now, people don't think about this sort of thing, I don't think, but I wouldn't be able to fish this swim if I just had conventional sort of 6 to 8 inch bank sticks, because my rods are literally out in the water at the moment, and the front rod rest is probably in 2.5 foot of water. So you need really long bank sticks so that you can get your rods out beyond the tree line, you can get them out into a decent depth of water, so that if you get a take, you're not going to go getting cut off on any of the tree line or anything that's going to get in the way. It also means that you can get the rods up off the water, and a lot of the time you're going to have big winds, going to have a load of weed washing in, and it helps to have your rods up high, out the way, so that the lines aren't getting absolutely covered in weed. So yeah, long bank sticks is another one. So it's just 3 little pointers just to think about. Like I said, I try and think of a few things along the way as I'm fishing this venue, in case you guys are looking at coming somewhere like this. But yeah, hopefully that helps you sort of think about what you're doing. But yeah, travel light, bring your waders, bring long bank sticks. That is the 3 for this session. Right then, that's the end of the session. Back at the van, we're all loaded up and I've got to get on the road. Unfortunately, it is another blank. Just spoke to a guy in the car park who did last night, and he's just had a bit of a nose around, and there's a guy down the bottom end, and he's had 3 fish. So he's had an absolute result. So it looks like the fish are down that way. So he's got a few hours, so he's going to just pop down there and have a little go. Obviously, I haven't got the time now, so I need to get on the move. But it was interesting, and once again, it's another bit of information that I can move forward with, and hopefully will help me in the future. But anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you do, then please smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, then please subscribe. We upload every Tuesday about 6 o'clock for plenty of weekly carp content. And if you're getting out, be lucky. I will see you in the next video. Until then, see you next Tuesday.